Let's think of good and let's think of bad foods, right? You probably already have some things coming to mind, and you probably already have these lists that are forming in your head that these are the good foods and these are the bad foods. But let me ask you, what is the difference? First, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm Long Island's eating disorder specialist. I post on this channel 3 times a week, all about eating disorders, body image issues, and general mental health. So if any of that interests you, please click the subscribe button down below. I also have a weekly blog. I post on every Friday and a daily Instagram. You can feel free to check those out. I will leave those links in the description below as well. And if you found this video helpful, useful, informative, whatever, you just enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. That helps other people who are also struggling or potentially could just be benefiting from this type of content find my channel and hopefully help them as well. In our culture, we have probably, most of us at least, have grown up with this whole idea that there are good foods and there are bad foods, or maybe the synonyms to them is healthy foods or unhealthy foods. And it's just something that we so widely accept. And then I was just thinking, where did that come from? It sounds so bizarre. And whenever I hear now people say, oh, this food is bad, and of course I respond with sarcasm. I'm like, oh, did it punch you in the face or something like that? Like, why is it bad? Food is food, and we are assigning the judgments to it. And that is a problem in our culture. We need to stop labeling foods as good or bad. There's so much more. I mean, now that everyone's talking about, not having everything in just such a freaking box, we need to get outside of the box. We need to see that this particularly is a spectrum. If we're really going to have an idea about labeling foods, we need to stop putting it in such boxes that are just formulated and there's nothing you can do about it. So let's think about it for a moment. If at the beginning of this video, when I said bad foods and good foods, you probably already have a list making. You probably have all the good foods, the fruits, vegetables, produce, quinoa, all those types of things, right, are automatically there. And then what's on your bad list? Most people have, ice cream, cake, sweets, pasta, and all these things on the bad list. And I want to really ask you to think about this. Why are those things on this bad list? Does it have that much power that it's actually bad? Where did the bad come from? Now, I'm with you on this part of it, is that there are absolutely foods that are more nutritious and do more for our body. And there are absolutely foods that are lacking in nutrients and don't do anything positive for our bodies. I can get on board with you on that. However, when we put things in such a black and white box, it really limits us. Let me backtrack a little further. First, let's talk about why people do this. So our brains like to function in what we call schemas in psychology world. Basically what that means is that we like to categorize things. It makes us make sense of the world. So we are inclined to put things into categories. And that's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we process information with the world. However, we need to be mindful of it. Not everything belongs in a picture perfect category. And food is certainly one of those times that it is not a black and white type of thing. When we call a food good or bad, we are literally assigning so much power to an inanimate object. When you say something is bad or off limits, we actually have an inclination toward it. Think about it this way. Have you ever had your parents when you were younger say no to you about something, or, oh, don't touch that, don't go in that room? And then all of a sudden your curiosity and your urges peak to do the thing that they told you not to do, or maybe in another arena of your life. That is something natural. We are biologically programmed and inclined to the things that are bad or off limits, which again, that is why we are assigning so much power to the food. Again, food is an inanimate object, but we are assigning a category to it. We are assigning that this is bad or unhealthy. And naturally, whether or not it's on a conscious level, you are going to be inclined to that. And what happens is that when you say it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, you might restrict. And then all of a sudden, when you allow yourself to, because you will eventually give into it, give into that craving, give into that thought, you will overdo it. And that's where the binge restrict cycle comes in. And that's a whole other video. I did it already. I will leave that link in the description below so that you can check it out if you'd like. But this is what we really need to understand about this. Too often we allow our brains to try to overdo our bodies, try to outthink our bodies. And no matter how much you want to do that, it's just not going to work. There are points in time that we need to surrender to our bodies. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to allow our bodies to guide us and silence out the noise that our brain wants to take in all the time. And that goes with diet culture, that goes with body culture, you know, well, I guess not body culture, but body thinness or culture or whatever, that we need to fit into a certain mold. And this is how you're going to get into that mold. We need to silence all of that. So how does that pertain to food labeling? When we are putting good and bad to foods, we are using our brains to determine that. And again, that leads to that whole thing that I talked about before. But we are not even allowing, we are already telling our bodies what it should do with it. And our bodies are not really going to listen perfectly to that, but we're telling our bodies, no, you can't have that. No, you shouldn't have that. You should have more of this. And our bodies get all out of whack because we are sending it weird messages. This is what we need to do. We need to listen to our bodies and get in tune with our bodies. And when you are able to do that, you will be more inclined, more often than not, to engage in eating things that are of higher nutritional values. You don't have to assign that food as good or healthy. You will be inclined to have the things that are more nutritious on average. I'm not saying that that is a foolproof thing. I'm not saying you'll never want something that would belong at one point in your bad category. Maybe you will have cupcakes and you will have cupcakes at another time, but you're going to be able to do it in a very healthy mindset and have a healthier relationship with food. So this is what I'm going to challenge you to do. Skip the healthy, unhealthy, the good and bad, all of those food labeling terms that you use. Get rid of them and replace it with this. This food is more nutritious and this food is less nutritious. Therefore, it is on a spectrum. Yes, there are foods that have absolutely no nutritional value, and as I said, I could get on board with that. That's on one side of the spectrum. But there are foods that are very nutritious, and there are foods that are even more nutritious than that, and there are superfoods. There are such a wide variety, and that our body can determine. When we are giving it foods that it is asking for and just listening to our bodies, it's going to determine what it wants more of and what it wants less of. And that is something that we need to ultimately turn to our bodies and trust our bodies and allow it to make those decisions for us and guide those decisions. I hear through my video that there are probably a lot of you saying, well, I don't trust my body. It's never done well for me in the past. And let's be truthful here. Your body has been told such mixed messages. You have probably, if you're watching this video, I can't say for everyone, but if you're watching this video, you more than likely have already engaged in a lot of eating disordered behaviors, or at the very least, you are very adapted to diet culture and all the messages that are coming in from that. If you've ever been on a diet, this is stuff that messes with your body. It's not the way that our bodies are meant to just work. So don't feel that your body is not trustworthy. You need to realize that what happened was your brain got in the way when your body should have been the ultimate guide for you. Society got in the way of your brain, and then your brain interrupted your body. This is why we need to work. It's hard work, but you need to work on silencing out all the messages. Not to say that it's going to be foolproof. You will get those messages. You will hear diet culture. It is a part of our culture and it's deeply rooted. It's going to take a really long time for it to change. But we need to start tuning into our bodies and trust it. Trust your bodies. Our bodies have been around way longer, not your individual body, but bodies in general, human bodies, animals have been around for a really, really, really long time. And it's not necessarily, it's not because of the functioning of the brain in the sense of being conscientious and thinking about everything we're eating. It is surviving. It has survived for millennials and longer than that because our bodies intuitively know what to do. That's what we need to start trusting. So no more labels, no more good, bad, healthy, unhealthy. We're going to view it as a spectrum, more nutritious, less nutritious, and there's a whole load in between. I hope that you found this video helpful. Again, if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you are up to this challenge. Are you willing to ditch the food labeling in lieu of just being able to listen to your body and being non-judgmental toward the food. You could click my face over here to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you the ability to silence societal messages so that you can listen to your inner guide, your body. I'll see you in my next video.